I cheated on my husband, and now I desperately want to rebuild what I ruined. We knew the guy. He was inside our circle of friends, although I can't really say he was a friend after everything that happened. I was that kind of girl who talked about my relationship with friends. I talked to them for advice, for opinions, for sympathy, and this guy was one of those friends. I didn't know he liked me until he admitted it 9 years ago. I didn't tell my husband. At that time, he was my boyfriend. Instead, I stopped talking to that guy. I didn't even reply to his messages. To me, I had cut him off. But I didn't tell my husband because, at that time, I was scared it would cause conflict between us. There was already something similar that had happened during college. I was invited to join a contest. I went to the orientation, not knowing that my ex would be my partner. I didn't pursue the contest, but I didn't tell my husband that the reason was because my ex was also there. When he eventually found out, he got angry. He even wanted to break up. He told me that maybe the reason I wanted to participate in the contest was because of my ex, even though I never went through with it, going back to the other guy. Since I didn't tell my husband what had happened, and because we were both friends with him, he wasn't really cut off. My husband and I got married in 2019. He was there at our wedding. He was there at our first child's birthday. He was there. Because I didn't tell my husband, he didn't know anything. The other guy later told 1 or 2 people that he was hurt during our wedding. I had no idea, until some friends told me. The next contact we had happened when my husband and I had a fight. I think it was 3 years ago. It was a huge fight, but I can't remember exactly what it was about. I knew it was serious because I was physically hurt. I told my husband's parents about it. I didn't tell my own parents because I didn't want to ruin their opinion of my husband. I contacted 2 of my friends. He was one of them. I asked them to help me go to my parents, but they told me that I should talk about it with my husband. They said they weren't the ones who should handle it. They shouldn't get involved. Last year, the guy got married, and we were there. My husband, me, and our eldest daughter. I felt completely out of place at that time. They were all high school friends, including my husband, and that's what really hurt me. I mention this because the sad part becomes important later. My husband wasn't talking to me at that time either, so I really felt left out. In August last year, the other guy asked my husband if he and I could go out for dinner. He was about to leave the country and go to his wife. My husband agreed. Again, because he didn't know anything. Because I hadn't told him anything. So we went out. We talked about what I should do regarding my review for the board exam. Then we talked about our other friend. Then he asked me, "How are you and your husband?" I told him that we still fought over little things, but nothing big anymore. Sometimes, my husband would throw things at me, but it wasn't like before. Then he talked about his married life, and he opened up about something he had done to his wife. At first, he didn't want to say it, but eventually, he told me he had cheated on her. Then he said something that changed everything. He said he realized he had only been loyal to me. Even though we had never had a relationship, I didn't realize I had just opened a can of worms. More cans of worms were opened. We started texting again. We started flirting. And I convinced myself that it was harmless, because he told me to simply delete the messages and make sure we weren't caught. I was foolish enough to follow him. We didn't talk for 3 days. Then he asked me what was up. I replied. Eventually, he joked about accompanying me and my friends to Baguio while we were looking for an apartment for our board exam review. He agreed. His wife agreed. Then he said he would book a place. The only thing I said was, "Okay, up to you." I was thinking that I wouldn't do it, but I still ended up doing it because of everything he showed me. I was so blinded by the feeling that I was loved, that I was wanted, a feeling I thought I wasn't getting anymore from my husband. I thought I was being neglected by him, but in the end, I was the one neglecting him. The affair lasted less than a month. My husband caught me by reading the text messages. He was furious. He kicked me out of the house. But then, 2 days later, he called me. We tried to fix things, but at that point, he still didn't know that something had happened between me and the other guy. After a month of feeling uneasy, he found a way to get the whole truth out of me. I admitted that something had happened. His reaction was, "I forgive my wife because I love her so much." He said this in front of his father and one of his best friends. Days later, the pain came back, and then the fights became on and off. Every painful word, every hit. I was taking it all. I know I deserved consequences for what I had done. I wanted to prove that I was willing to go through anything, because this time, I wanted to love him the right way. I am devoted to restoring our marriage. I would do anything to help him heal and to create a new relationship with him. I want to understand myself as well. I want to understand why I could do something like this to my husband. And I also have a question. Would you say that I really loved the other guy? Because although I said that I loved him more than my husband, when I think about it now, what really happened wasn't really out of love. I had been talking about how I still fought with my husband over small things, how he would sometimes say awful things to me, and then someone was telling me that he had been loyal only to me, as if I had been the greatest love of his life. I admit it. It fed my pride. It fed my ego. And validation was something I constantly looked for. I realized that validation was a big part of me. Nothing happened that day. On August 30, my husband asked him to pick me up from another friend's birthday party because they were also going out that night. So he did. And he told me that the guilt he felt when his wife became angry about his cheating was the same guilt he felt when he told me about it. That's where it all started. My husband got home from the farewell party for the other guy. He was sleeping, and I woke up because he was snoring so loudly. Then the thought crept into my mind, and I texted the other guy. I told him I was angry because I felt sorry for his wife. I knew his wife was a kind person. I didn't know that this would eventually lead me into becoming involved with someone who was married. I told him I loved him more than my husband. I told him I wanted what he could give me. I told him that I had also felt hurt at their wedding, but for the wrong reasons. I just wanted to flirt. I told him all of these things because I wanted attention. I wanted validation. Then I said I wanted to tell him all of these things in person. Texting wasn't enough. I had to see the reaction of someone I knew had loved me for a long time, and now knew all of these things. I wanted to see the look of regret on his face, and I knew that if I got that reaction, I would stop. I got validated, another ego boost. And then I went to meet him. We talked about my problems with my husband. We talked about how I felt invalidated and neglected, not realizing that, at that point, I was the one neglecting my husband. After the conversation, he tried to kiss me. I told him I couldn't do it, that it was wrong. He tried again. I still said no. The third time, he kissed me. I stopped it and told him that we should go home. On the way, he pressured me to take things further. I didn't. It wasn't right. He said we deserved it. When we were in the mall's parking lot, he said a lot of things that I don't remember now. He kept insisting that we deserved this. When I was about to leave, I realized the car door was on child lock. I had to get out through the back. And just as I was about to close the door, he said, "I love you." I had never even said those words to him in person. Ever. So I went inside the mall. I washed my hands, and I went home.